you're trying to pretend to be somebody you're not by wearing a suit to somebody's house in the middle of the woods.
Right. You know, you need to be relatable. Like you can have a good conversation with them and help them out of their situation. What were some of the biggest hurdles that you hit in the first 6 months of this journey?
I think for me, it was like the biggest, like the most obvious thing was like, how do we get marketing to work? Like, how do you market to the people? And everybody has an opinion about that, right? So I've got friends that are like crushing it with texting and cold calling. We didn't connect with that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I knew people that were killing it with mail. And we were like, I don't know, do we want to be mail people? Like, is this oversaturated in our market? Like, just trying to figure out what made the phone ring. And then just from there, like, how do we have enough appointments that we'll have enough deals that we can just keep this thing going? Because I'd say like the first 6 months, every single deal was mission critical.
Mm-hmm.
Like if this deal didn't go through, I'm not 100% sure we'll be doing this in a year.
Right.
So like it was wild. But like I think it was just survival mode. And then just like we have to outsell our marketing. So like we have to be so good that we're, the marketing's not really working effectively, but our close ratio is so good that we can just, we can make it work anyway. We wouldn't be able to pass that off to a team of people like Amanda and I could do it.
And I mean, you guys have sales backgrounds. You're sales instructors or trainers. How did that play into when you met with the seller?
I think the really only real advantage that gave us is that we were comfortable being in other people's spaces. So we were comfortable being in other people's businesses, which is very much like homes that are in rough shape. Like you go into an auto body shop that's locally owned in a bad part of town, like it's not a beautiful environment, right? The office is even worse. And I'm sitting in this on a box or on a, what is, liberally referred to as a chair, like it's probably like an oil pan. So I was comfortable being in people's spaces and being in dirty environments and being like just essentially getting my hands dirty. And I was comfortable being in crawl spaces, and I was comfortable being like in places with fleas and like just all this weird stuff. So like it was just a general sense of comfort, which I think at some point kind of lent itself to confidence. So like I think we had a little bit of an advantage there. But what we found was that the sales of credit card processing or working with business owners was 180 degrees from working with residential consumers. So like, there wasn't any like strict processes that we brought to the table where we're like, haha, we have an advantage over.
Right. Did you try some of those same tactics and you were like, all right, this doesn't work? Like,
and it's obvious. Yeah, it's very quickly, they're just like, get the hell out of my house. It's like, okay, cool. So that didn't work.
Did you show up in like a suit and tie to some of these houses, or were you more aware of that when you were starting, that you just need to be a normal person?
No, I was never the three-piece suit guy.
Good.
And I wasn't that even at the bank. In fact, to the point where they would have to tell me like, you have to wear a tie, dude.
Right.
I thought I needed to be a little bit more clean cut and professional, but I realized that was my look anyway. So like, It doesn't matter what I wear.
Right.
And then even on top of that, like showing up in essentially what I'm wearing today, t-shirt, shorts, sneakers, like that's all they care about.
Right.
Because again, that goes back to that comfortability thing. You're trying to pretend to be somebody you're not by wearing a suit to somebody's house in the middle of the woods.
Right. And it's strange when these people could be in financial distress or are in financial distress. You're trying to buy their house and make a cash offer. You're showing up in a nice car and a suit and stuff like that. You're not on the same page.
No.
Like, you need to be relatable to an extent of where you can help them, like you can have a good conversation with them and help them out of their situation.
So we both drove Lexus sedans. And that was because that was a bank thing, that was a status thing, and we also drove so much we needed something comfortable that we could be on a conference call for 2 hours or coach somebody over the phone for hours on end. And it was just easy to drive. Very quickly sold those and just bought Toyotas because like it doesn't matter how expensive the Toyota is, it's not a luxury vehicle.
Right.
So like it was funny, we would trade in a Lexus that was probably worth 25 grand to buy a 50 grand Toyota, and all now you look like is like a conservative businessman that's good with his money, even though it's twice as expensive as the car we sold.
Yeah, it's interesting.